The secret in Dust Creek. Dust Creek was the kind of frontier town where justice depended more on fear than fairness. Judge Amos Blackthorne ruled it like a king, stern, cold, and unforgiving. No one crossed him. Not the sheriff, not the merchants, not even the outlaws. No one except Elias Rourke, the lone rancher. Elias lived miles away on the open plains, with only his horses, his hounds, and the silence for company. He wasn't the talking type, but everyone in town knew two things about him. 1. He never lied. 2. He never forgot a debt. One evening, the judge's wife, Clara Blackthorne, arrived at Elias's ranch in the pouring rain. Her clothes were muddy, her hands trembling, her eyes red from crying. She looked like she had run through hell itself. Elias stepped onto his porch, lantern in hand. "Ma'am, you're hurt." She shook her head. "No, but I will be, if he finds me." Elias didn't need to ask who. Clara whispered the truth. The judge wasn't the respectable man people believed. Behind closed doors, he was cruel, violent, paranoid, and drunk on power. She had endured years, but last night, he went too far. She escaped with nothing but fear and desperation. Elias brought her inside, dried her clothes by the fire, tended to her wounds without a single question. The ranch had always been silent, but that night, the storm outside felt quieter than the one inside those walls. When morning came, Elias saddled his horse. "If you stay here, he'll burn this ranch down and kill us both. But if I take you to the Apache border, he won't follow." Clara nodded, trusting him with her life. But as they rode toward the canyon, a rifle shot cracked through the air. A posse, led by Judge Blackthorne himself. Elias turned toward Clara, his jaw tight. "Run, I'll hold them off." Clara stared at him, terrified. "You'll die." Elias positioned himself on the ridge, rifle steady. "Ma'am, death don't scare me. Letting a monster take you back does." And so the lone rancher made his stand. Dust Creek would never forget the blood that fell on that canyon trail. What the lone rancher really did. Word spread across the frontier that Elias Rourke was killed resisting arrest. The judge declared him a kidnapper, a criminal, a danger to civilized folks. But the truth, buried deep in canyon shadows, was far more horrifying, and far more heroic, than anyone imagined. Elias survived the shootout, but he was badly wounded. When Clara returned with Apache scouts, who owed Elias a long-standing favor, the posse had fled. Only one man remained half alive on the ground. The judge. Clara froze. The man who had terrorized her, beaten her, controlled her, was now staring up at her with bloodshot eyes. You belong to me," he hissed. And that's when they learned the horrible truth. Elias hadn't killed the judge's men. The judge had. To fake a heroic chase. To make Clara look kidnapped. To make Elias look like a criminal. So he could bury the scandal forever. The judge was willing to kill his own posse just to protect his reputation. That was the true horror. Elias knelt beside him. "You murdered them. Every one of them." The judge laughed, coughing blood. "Power is worth any price." Elias looked at Clara, waiting, for her voice mattered more than his own. Clara stepped forward, shaking but steady. "No, Amos. Power isn't worth one more life." The judge reached for his revolver. But Clara was faster. A single gunshot echoed across the canyon. Justice, real justice, finally came to Dust Creek. Elias buried the judge beside the men he had betrayed. No marker, no ceremony. The frontier didn't honor monsters. When Clara asked Elias what would happen next, he simply said, "I'll take you somewhere safe. A new town, a new life. Folks don't need to know what happened here." Clara's voice trembled. "Why would you do all this for me?" Elias looked at the horizon, lonely as ever. Because no one deserves to suffer alone. And someone had to stop him. Together, they rode toward the rising sun. Two broken souls leaving behind the darkness that had nearly destroyed them. In Dust Creek. It whispered for generations. What the lone rancher did to the judge's wife wasn't horrifying, what he saved her from was.